Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Bibbidi Bobbidi Books. My name is Ellie and today I am so excited to be talking to you about my spooky October TBR. So this has got to be one of my favourite TBRs to put together because I just love Halloween, I love the autumn season and I love all things spooky. So I'm so excited to chat you through my TBR for this month. There are quite a lot of books on here though, and whether or not I'm actually going to read them all is questionable just because I am a very slow reader. So I'm also kind of asking for your help a little bit in this video really, and I would love to hear in the comments from you which books you think that I should prioritise, because yeah, I don't think I'll be able to get to all of these but they all sound so fantastic and I just can't decide. So please let me know down below which one you think I should pick up first and which ones you think that I should prioritise. And yeah, without further ado, I'm just going to jump straight in with the first book. Okay, so the first book that I have on my TBR is a classic and it is The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. So this is a very famous haunted house type story and I was inspired to pick this one up after watching the Netflix adaptation earlier this year because I absolutely love that show. It's really intense and really scary, but it's so well directed and the acting is just phenomenal and it's just such a great show. And yeah, I feel like that was the nudge I needed to finally pick up the actual original story because I've had this one on my radar for a while but I haven't actually gotten to reading it for one reason or another. So yes, I'm excited to finally pick this one up. I do know that the book is actually quite different to the Netflix show, which I'm actually quite pleased about because it means that I'll be a little bit more surprised. Hopefully I won't really know what's coming, and yeah, I'm just expecting this one to be a little bit more kind of atmospheric and kind of classic really compared to the show, which is very much more of a kind of family drama. So yeah, I'm excited to see how this differs from the show, and I love anything with a haunted house setting, so I'm super excited for this one. All I know about this book is that we follow four main characters and they all move into this house known as Hill House, and the house is rumoured to be haunted, and I think that the four characters are trying to prove whether a haunting is real. So they're trying to find real scientific evidence of a haunting, and so yeah, it's a bit of a sort of paranormal investigation type situation in this story, and I hear it's really creepy and really atmospheric, and I just think it's going to be absolutely perfect for this Halloween. Okay, so speaking of creepy haunted house type stories, the next one that I have on my TBR is another classic and it is The Woman in Black by Susan Hill. And again, this is one where I've seen an adaptation of it. I've watched the movie with Daniel Radcliffe in, but I haven't actually read the original book, so I'm really excited to read this one. It's nice and short, which is perfect, so hopefully it won't take too long to read. And yeah, I'll just give you a little read of the blurb for this one. Arthur Kipps, a junior solicitor, is summoned to attend the funeral of Mrs. Alice Drablow, the sole inhabitant of Eel Marsh House. The house stands at the end of a causeway wreathed in fog and mystery, but it is not until he glimpses a wasted young woman dressed all in black at the funeral that a creeping sense of unease begins to take hold, a feeling deepened by the reluctance of the locals to talk about the woman in black and her terrible purpose. Doesn't give much away, but I think it sounds so good. So yeah, I'm really excited to finally pick up this book. Okay, so the next book that I have on my TBR is The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher. Firstly, I absolutely love this cover. I think it's so like simplistic but really effective. But yeah, I recently read Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher and I really enjoyed that book. So I'm excited to read more from this author, and I thought I would try one of their horror books this spooky season. But yeah, I don't know a huge amount about this one. All I know is that we follow a young woman called Mouse, and she goes to her grandmother's house to start clearing out her things because her grandmother has recently passed away, and it's quite the chore because her grandmother was a bit of a hoarder, and while she's kind of rooting through all of the clutter, she stumbles across this diary which was written by her step grandfather, and it contains some really weird stuff in it. And at first Mouse thinks that it's kind of just nonsensical ramblings until she starts to see and experience some of the things that her step-granddad was talking about in his diary. So I am so excited for this one, and I believe that this house that Mouse is trying to clear out is actually out in the woods, and it's kind of like this isolated cabin type setting, which just sounds so perfect for Halloween and so creepy. It says on the back here that it's a hugely enchanting read. It says it's clever, gruesome, funny and downright terrifying, and it says that it's innovative, unexpected and absolutely chilling. So yes, I'm very, very excited for this one. I can't wait for it, and oh, there's so many books that I want to read this month. Alright, so next up we have one that's a little bit more of a mystery thriller type horror. This one is Daughters of the Lake by Wendy Webb. Again, this one has such a stunning cover. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of drawn in by the cover for this one, but I've also heard some really great reviews. So again, I'm just gonna read you a little bit from the back of this one because I don't want to give any spoilers, and I just feel like that's gonna be better than if I try and explain what it is because I haven't read it. So it says on the back here, after the end of her marriage, Kate Granger has retreated to her parents' home on Lake Superior to pull herself together, only to discover the body of a murdered woman washed into the shallows. Tucked in the folds of the woman's curiously vintage gown is an infant as cold and at peace as her mother. No one can identify the woman except for Kate. She's seen her before in her dreams. 100 years ago, a love story ended in tragedy, its mysteries unresolved. It's time for the lake to give up its secrets. As each mystery unravels, it pulls Kate deeper into the eddy of a haunting folk tale that's been handed down in whispers over generations. Now it's Kate's turn to listen. Ooh, how good does that sound? I am very intrigued by the whole kind of historical element to this one, and I'm wondering if it might have a little bit of a, maybe a bit of a sci-fi element to it. I don't know if there's some timey-wimey stuff happening. I don't really know. I don't know if it's going to be more fantasy based because we've obviously got this main character who's seeing this other woman in her dreams. I'm super intrigued. I can't wait to find out more about this mystery, and yeah, super excited for this one. Okay, so next up I have another T. Kingfisher book that I'm super excited for. So this one I actually have on pre-order because it's coming out on the 18th of October, and it's called What Moves the Dead. So this one is actually a retelling of Edgar Allan Poe's The Fall of the House of Usher. And I just think it sounds so creepy. So in this story we follow our main character who is a retired soldier, and they hear news that their friend is actually dying, so they rush to their friend's house to be with them, and it's this kind of isolated house that they go to. And when they get there, it says that they find a nightmare of fungal growths and possessed wildlife surrounding a dark pulsing lake. It also says that the main character's friend Madeline sleepwalks and speaks in strange voices at night, and her brother Roderick is consumed by a mysterious malady of the nerves. I don't know, I'm just really intrigued by that. I think the whole idea of kind of possessed wildlife is terrifying and creepy, and I'm also very drawn in by the cover for this one because I think it's so creepy and also kind of beautiful as well. So yeah, another T. Kingfisher that I'm hoping to get to this month. Okay, so next up we have a novella that I'm really excited to get to, and I just think that horror novellas are fantastic. I think that they make really good short stories. It's perfect for if you want something creepy to snuggle up with one night but you don't want to invest in a whole big story. But anyway, the one that I'm hoping to pick up this month is Below, and it's written by Laurel Hightower, and I just think this one sounds so creepy. So I'm just going to give you a little read of what it's about. While driving through the mountains of West Virginia during a late night snowstorm, a recently divorced woman experiences bizarre electrical problems, leaving her with little choice but to place her trust with a charismatic truck driver. But when an unexplainable creature with haunting red eyes gets between them, she is forced to make one of the toughest decisions of her life. Will she abandon the stranger who kept her safe, or will she climb down below, where reality has shapeshifted into a living nightmare? How intense and scary does that sound? I've heard from people that this book is quite claustrophobic. I think from the title we get the impression that she's probably going to end up going down, I think, into some kind of caves or something, and there's obviously this kind of creepy creature. I don't know, I think it sounds super scary and super intense, and I'm excited to get absolutely terrified reading that one. Okay, so next up I have another book that I have on pre-order, and this one is called Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. This one comes out on the 6th of October, so not too long to wait, and I am so excited for this one. So this is supposed to be a dark, romantic Dracula retelling. Need I say more? Honestly, I was just hooked by that premise. I think this one is going to be so much fun. So this one says, saved from the brink of death by a mysterious stranger, Constanta is transformed from a medieval peasant into a bride fit for an undying king. But when Dracula draws a cunning aristocrat and a starving artist into his web of passion and deceit, Constanta realizes that her beloved is capable of terrible things. Finding comfort in the arms of her rival consorts, she begins to unravel their husband's dark secrets. With the lives of everyone she loves on the line, Constanta will have to choose between her own freedom and her love for her husband, but bonds forged by blood can only be broken by death. How good does that sound? I think this one is going to be really steamy and really gothic and really dark and really atmospheric, and I'm just so excited for it. Okay, so the next book that I have on my TBR is another classic gothic horror novel, and it is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. So this is a book that I've had on my radar for a while, but for some reason I felt a little bit intimidated to pick this one up. I think because it is a classic, and sometimes I don't gel so well with classics. I find them a little bit intimidating, a little bit heavy to get through sometimes. But I have heard a lot of fantastic things about this story, and I do like the vague premise of it. So I'm excited to give it a go for myself and see what I think. So this follows this man called Dorian Gray, and it revolves around this painting that was created of him, this portrait that was done of him. I think it was painted by his friend who is really infatuated with Dorian's beauty, because Dorian is an incredibly handsome man and he's also incredibly vain. So Dorian actually decides to sell his soul to ensure that this painting that was done of him ages instead of him. So as time goes on, Dorian Gray stays young and beautiful forever while this painting becomes more and more aged and more haggard. And that's all I know about this story, but it sounds interesting and I'm excited to give it a go. So yeah, that's on my TBR for this month. Okay, so next up we have Gideon the Ninth, written by Tamsin Muir. So this book actually received quite a lot of buzz like a few years ago when it came out on booktube, and I remember at the time thinking it sounded really cool and wanting to pick it up, but I just never got round to it, and then I kind of forgot about it for a little while until I recently saw Jordan from the channel Jordan Reads talking about this book, and she raved about it and she really hyped me up for this story. So thank you, Jordan, if you're watching this, for inspiring me to go ahead and pick up this one this month. I think I might read it on Kindle, and yeah, I'm super excited. I highly recommend for you to go and check out Jordan's channel, by the way. She's fantastic. If you enjoy fantasy, she's your girl. So I will link her channel down below so you can go and check out her content. But yes, all you need to know about this book is that it is about lesbian necromancers in space. I don't think you need to know any more than that. If that doesn't hook you, I honestly don't know what will. That was the kind of tagline that really got me intrigued in this story. I think it sounds so fun. I'm not sure if it's necessarily going to be really scary. I don't think it's really a horror. It's very much more kind of like a sci-fi fantasy story. But I think because of the necromancy elements in it, I still think it has those kind of creepy vibes that I'm going for this month. So I'm hoping that this will be a good time to pick it up. And I'm really excited for it. So yes, that one is going on the TBR. Okay, so the final book on this spooky TBR for this year is This Dark Harvest, written by Norman Partridge. So this is a novella that I am absolutely going to be picking up on Halloween, because it just looks like the perfect Halloween story. I mean, look at the cover, it's the epitome of Halloween, and I just think it sounds so creepy and just perfect for Halloween. So I'm very excited to read this one snuggled up with a hot chocolate and a cozy jumper on. So this book is actually set in 1963 and it takes place on Halloween, and it follows this really small town that has this really weird and messed up ritual every year where basically on Halloween this creature kind of emerges from the cornfields, and it's known as the October Boy, and this creature tries to make its way towards the church in the town, and every year all of the teenage boys try to stop this October Boy from reaching the church by killing it. And yeah, that's all I really know. It sounds like a strange but interesting premise, and I just think that it's going to be perfect because it's set on Halloween, and I'm hoping that it's going to be quite a nice quick horror novella as well, which will be perfect to actually read on the day of Halloween because you can probably read it all in one sitting. I think it's quite short, and yeah, I'm just really intrigued by that one. So yes, that brings me to the end of this spooky TBR. There are quite a few books on there, but not a crazy amount, so we'll see how much I can get through this month. If you have any other recommendations for me, please do drop them down below because I'm always on the hunt for spooky recommendations. Please let me know what you're picking up this month. Consider liking this video if you liked it because it really helps out my channel, and subscribe if you want to see more from me. And yeah, I guess I'll see you next time with another video. Bye!